Okay, welcome back everybody. Great to see you all back. Hope you had a good networking lunch and caught up with some old colleagues and made some new contacts as well. Welcome to the afternoon session. My name's Tom Bowtell. I'm the Chief Exec at the British Coatings Federation. I'm also a TAF Board member and chair for the afternoon session. So lovely to see you all and nice to meet you. We're starting off with a keynote speaker who sadly isn't with us today. She's got a very good excuse because she's got COVID. She didn't fail to make it here because of the train strikes. So I'm going to introduce our keynote speaker. It's Seema Malhotra, who is the MP for Feltham and Heston since 2011. Before she came to Parliament, she worked as a management consultant for Accenture and PwC. And she's also acted as a special advisor to ministers under the last Labour government. She's currently Shadow Business Minister, and she's previously served as Shadow Chief Secretary to the Treasury and in the Shadow Home Office team. So she's got quite a broad range of experience. And she's made a short video for us. It's actually 10 minutes, which is quite good, isn't it? Normally you get like 90 seconds when people can't come and they say sorry, but clearly she wanted to make some points to us. So we're going to run the video now, and after that we'll get into our panel discussion. The panel are going to be sitting here, and for those of you over that way, you might want to think about moving further that way to be more engaged with the discussion, but I'll leave that up to you to decide. Let's play the video.
Thank you for inviting me to join you today, and may I congratulate all at the Trade Association Forum for this excellent event today. My name is Seema Malhotra and I am the Shadow Business Minister for the Labour Party in Parliament. I want to start by agreeing with you about the important role that trade associations play, enabling business to share best practice and to cooperate around common standards and shared goals, and representing the interests and perspectives of those in business in public debate and policy making. And today, enabling those most important of conversations, shaping our future economy. As Shadow Business Minister, I meet with or hear from trade associations representing businesses across every sector of the economy. The role that you play in ensuring that the concerns of your members are heard in Parliament and brought to bear on government is absolutely vital. Vital to the strength of our economy, vitalness to the responsiveness of our politics, and vital to the future of our country. From the Road Haulage Association to trade, to food and drink, utilities and manufacturing, your insights across all sectors of our economy represent so much of what we do as a nation. The government and Parliament needs to ensure that it's making the most of the insight that your members bring, and to thank you for your voice during the supply chain and other crises that we have faced. A good government is one that listens more closely to business and what it's telling them, and about the problems and challenges that they are facing. And a good government is one that works closely and proactively with business on solutions and to make them happen. Now, I know from my engagement with businesses in my constituency and across the country that these are uniquely challenging times. The COVID pandemic has been hugely disruptive, and for many businesses and industries, hugely destabilizing. Many enterprises have had to take on significant additional debt, and a debt burden to survive, with SMEs in particular seeing a sharp rise in average indebtedness. But at a time when they need to see revenues increasing and profits, they now face input cost increases on a scale that this country has not seen in decades. Much of that is impacted by Ukraine's effect on the world economy, but not all of it. We know that not enough steps have been taken to be making Brexit work, with barriers in trade with the EU uniquely hitting UK businesses. Now, the latest data from the ONS just yesterday shows that the cost of materials and fuels is up 22.1% over a year, the highest rate since records began in 1985. And on top of this, of course, we have seen the tax burden increase, with the government's national insurance rises hitting smaller businesses particularly hard. Inevitably, some of those additional costs have to be passed on in the form of higher prices paid by other manufacturers, retailers, businesses, and consumers in the service sector. At every point in the supply chain, this is putting huge pressure on businesses trying to protect jobs and wages while keeping prices affordable for clients and customers. It shows that behind the cost of living crisis hitting families is a cost of doing business crisis striking at the heart of our economy. And it is one that now risks becoming a vicious cycle as rising prices hit consumer demand, sales and revenues, and business confidence. It is no wonder that the OECD now predicts that the UK will not just be the slowest growing economy in the G7 next year, but the slowest growing of all economies in the G20 except for Russia. The consequence of this perfect storm, as the latest figures show, is businesses are cutting back on investment as they battle to balance their books. But the truth is that this is the last thing we need right now. Because at a time when businesses are worrying about how they're going to make it to the end of the year, we want to see government working with you to be planning ahead for our nation's prosperity, for business success and for future employment. We need to be driving growth and shaping our future economy, together preparing for the next 5, 10 or 20 years. And why do we need to do that? Because we have a shared purpose in doing so. Accelerating technological change is transforming the product and service markets in which businesses operate. Global competition is intensifying, just as Britain's trading relationships are needing to adapt to the consequences of Brexit. Delivering net zero will require many existing industries to be radically made over, and many others to be dramatically scaled up. And meeting these challenges means retaining and developing a workforce that is ready to adapt, upskill and reskill, while meeting workers' legitimate aspirations for rewarding and stimulating and fulfilling work and good terms and conditions. But in all of these challenges, there are great opportunities if we are ready for them and have the capacity to grow with them. Britain is well placed to shape a future economy that works for everyone. Our businesses include world leaders across a diverse range of fast-moving, cutting-edge industries, from advanced manufacturing to financial and business services, life sciences to the creatives, renewable energy to information technology. I'm excited about these prospects and about continuing to adapt. That's why I'm also proud to be on the policy board of the Warwick Manufacturing Group and to be co-chair of the London West Innovation District. Equally important is the innovation and the sense of social purpose that we see in all those all-important sectors, such as retail, hospitality, utilities and social care, sectors that make up the everyday economy, which provides the majority of jobs and underpins the quality of life and sense of place in every part of the country. Making the most of Britain's business and economic strengths will require that sustained investment in R&D, technology and infrastructure, a real commitment to developing and sustaining our workforce, and looking beyond the short term to a long-term strategy. That's why we also need to work towards turning around what isn't going well. The gap between British business investment and that of key competitor economies is widening. The latest data for entry-level apprenticeships and adult participation in education show continued falls over recent years. And I'm afraid to say that instead of delivering on an ambitious industrial strategy we had been promised, the government has scrapped it and disbanded the Industrial Strategy Council that was set up to hold it to its word. This brings me to my second message today, which is the need for government not just to listen to business about the challenges it faces, but to work closely and proactively with business to find solutions. Keir Starmer has called for a new strategic partnership between government and business. This is because we know that successful businesses are fundamental to the future of our country. It is businesses that create and sustain the jobs relied on by the vast majority, over 80% in fact, of British workers. But we in the Labour Party don't believe that means the job of government is simply to get out of the way. I grew up in a small business, and backing enterprise is as much part of what I believe in as backing good, strong public services. In challenging times, it's even more important that government plays its part, building dialogue and engagement in every part of the country, stepping up and providing the support and the facilitation that only government can provide, like designing the institutional ecosystem to enable businesses to access the markets, finance and skilled workforce they need, reforming business taxation, leveraging public procurement and targeting public investment, convening constructive dialogues and discussions amongst businesses across sectors, localities and regions, amongst community, civic and workforce representatives, to identify and collaboratively implement strategies for adapting to and prospering in the future economy. And instead of abolishing the Industrial Strategy Council, which tracked and advised on the government's progress towards its declared economic goals, we should be putting it on a statutory footing, as our Shadow Business Secretary Jonathan Reynolds has proposed. So I am confident that by working closely in partnership, business and the Labour government will actively tackle the barriers holding our economy back, with a better grounded strategy for overcoming them. This is a partnership that is already beginning today. Our Council of Skills Advisors, chaired by David Blunkett, is working closely with employers as well as the young people and educators to better understand what needs to be done to ensure those leaving education have the skills and abilities that firms need. And last week, our Shadow Chancellor Rachel Reeves announced a review of how government can better support Britain's startups, bringing together experienced founders and entrepreneurs led by crossbench peer and founder of Northern Gritstone, Jim O'Neill. And every day, I and my fellow shadow business ministers and those across the front bench are working to work with businesses and industry leaders to better understand what they need to help them get through the current crisis and to help them get ready for the future economy. So to conclude, as trade associations who help to bring together and represent the interests of British businesses and industries, you are all an inspiration in what you do. Through facilitating these exchanges and dialogues, you help drive greater prosperity. You facilitate communication, coordination and cooperation to raise standards, promote innovation and help businesses achieve their potential. The government should be right behind you in that effort. And today I'm here to tell you that a Labour government will be. Today is part of that ongoing conversation and that deepening partnership we have between Labour and business. And I look forward to continuing to work with you all. Thank you and my very best wishes for your conference today.